Tonight, ocean rescue, a close call for fishermen as their boat starts sinking. Hell attacks called in as firefighters battle blazes on both sides of the river. Fists fly as a wild brawl erupts at a festival, security guards on the attack. Stabbing rampage, a man lunges with a knife at 5 strangers. More than 170 planes grounded after a terrifying mid-air emergency. And Cam Bancroft makes his case to replace David Warner.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Tina Altieri.
Good evening. Thanks for your company. 3 fishermen have had a lucky escape after their boat began sinking off Ocean Reef. The drama unfolded after hundreds of people headed out as Perth got its first scorcher of the year.
Towed into shore after being stranded out at sea, 2 volunteer rescue crews bring back 3 boaties who set out for fish and found trouble.
We were taking on a little bit of water, but the guys came out pretty quickly and brought us back.
The men were several nautical miles off the coast. Shortly after 10, they called for help. Water police, volunteers and fisheries vessels coordinated their rescue north of Ocean Reef.
Once we got on scene, we had multiple assets there. We had salvage pumps that got transferred over to the boat, and we removed some of the crew from the boats to reduce the weight.
Helped by the fact the trio were all equipped with life jackets, an EPIRB and a calm demeanour when faced with disaster.
Quietly concerned is probably a good way of putting that, which is, I think, fairly commendable. Some people do have a habit of panicking, but they were definitely bailing fairly hard with the water coming onto the boat.
During a busy day on the water, volunteer marine rescue crews were able to rescue all 3 men and bring them safely back to shore with their vessel, all within 90 minutes.
Regular boaties helped tow in others on the water while the main rescue took place. The men at least had something to show for a damaged boat and bruised egos.
We had a tuna.
Ben Downey, 7 News.
Today's heat kept firefighters busy too, with fires erupting north and south of the city. A blaze in Albury was sparked by a passing train. Graham Butler has the details.
Heli-tacs dumped litres of water from the air as crews battle the flames on the ground. The blaze at Albury and Jarrahdale Serpentine started just after 3:30. A passing train believed to have sparked the fire. A fixed-wing water bomber joined the fight, a united front as the flames burned northeast. Several power poles were lost. A bushfire watch and act is currently in place for an area bounded by King Road, Boomerang Road, Carragotich Road and Leopold Road in the Shire of Serpentine, Jarrahdale. Firefighters are busy. Another blaze north of the city near Yanchep National Park. A bulldozer is currently clearing bush to allow crews in to battle the blaze. A heli-tac is also dumping water from above, already making several passes above the flames. Graham Butler, 7 News.
Disgusting and Neanderthal. That's how witnesses have described a wild brawl that's marked the end of a major motorsport event in Canberra. Security guards and rowdy revellers traded punches in a brutal end to the popular Summer Nats car festival.
His high-vis vest reads crowd safety. His actions, anything but. A security officer dishes out a punch to a punter before retreating to his pack. It doesn't end there. What appears to be the same officer captured here, firing off a round of uppercuts before one hell of a hook. And again. And again. It's not a boxing event you are watching, it's the annual Summer Nats car festival in Canberra yesterday. Security guards versus revellers. The sound of screaming crowds fast drowning out any engines. This reveller ambushed by 5 security officers and dragged along the ground. Witnesses pulling out their mobile phones in disbelief.
Security smashing into him. That's wrong, man. I've got it on video. 10 security on one guy.
We had nowhere to go, so I had to go and run and stand on top of a table. It was definitely an unsafe feeling, and especially when it's with the people that are meant to be, keeping you safe.
The string of brawls out of control. Until eventually the officers involved are ushered out into a waiting van. Security company Red Dawn's Facebook shut down today. No response to our inquiries. While this statement from Summernats: "We are conducting a full investigation into the incident with our private security contractor and the police. Once we know what happened, we can take action from an event management perspective and the police can take action." So far, no arrests have been made. Grace Fitzgibbon, 7 News.
There are growing calls for the government to make a decision on the future of Australia Day. Councils have been given freedom to decide when they hold citizenship ceremonies, but mayors say it's not their job to change the date. It comes as retailers respond by scaling back Aussie-themed merchandise.
It's not our job. That's the sentiment from 2 Perth mayors.
We need some sort of national direction on this as well, because it's a day of national importance, national significance.
Frankly, I think it's a cop-out from the Prime Minister.
The Commonwealth says councils can decide when to hold their citizenship ceremonies, and that's sparked division. 11 WA councils opting out of Australia Day, Wanneroo, Cambridge and Rockingham joining the movement this year, as well as Denmark on the south coast.
We are testing the waters by having it on a different day, and we'll seek feedback from our community and also our First Nation elders.
Perth City won't change unless it's ordered to.
If the Prime Minister wants to change Australia Day, then I say to the Prime Minister, lead that change. You do it. It's your job. Don't make it ours.
Consumers voting with their feet. In Woolworths, you can buy Easter buns, but 3 weeks out from Australia Day, it's yet to join the party. Coles says it's stocking a small range, but a check-in store, and it pales compared to other years.
I think we should just leave it on the 26th. I don't think it's going to change anything.
I agree that the date should change. My family also celebrates it, but I tell them that we shouldn't because it just doesn't feel right.
4 years ago, Perth was home to the largest Australia Day sky show in the nation.
Australia Day celebrations here in Perth haven't exactly been cancelled, but they've certainly been scaled back. The budget's been slashed, Skyworks is gone, replaced by a family fun fair and a light show.
Smaller crowds, a sign of shifting sentiments. Lucy Murray, 7 News.
The nation's housing crisis is again set to dominate federal politics in 2024. The Greens are tonight threatening to sink a government scheme that would see 40,000 people into home ownership unless Labor agrees to a rent freeze.
In the 2 houses of Parliament, the nation's housing woes will be front and centre again.
In 2024, Labor's housing crisis looks set to get worse for Australians.
It's a real shame that every time Labor tries to build more homes, the Greens get in the way.
Last year, it took 8 months to pass the government's Housing Australia Future Fund, the Greens holding out until negotiating $3 billion for public housing. Now they're threatening to do it again.
Stop tinkering around the edges.
The Albanese government wants to pass its Help to Buy housing scheme this year. It'll assist 40,000 people into home ownership, but the government takes a 40% equity stake in new homes, 30% for existing properties.
Which is about helping renters into the housing market.
The Coalition's housing spokesman has labelled the scheme underwhelming, meaning Labor will likely need the Greens to pass it.
We'll have a look at it, but we will push Labor to take the housing crisis seriously, to start freezing rents, building more public homes.
Housing affordability is a vote winner.
It's really hard to find a place at the moment.
I think it's got to do with lack of shortage of housing.
With 76% of Australians frustrated by a lack of action.
What you need to do is to get councils approving more stuff.
House hunters and the government will be hoping to avoid a repeat of 2023, the year from hell, when property prices jumped 8% and the official cash rate soared to 4.35%.
It's unlikely that rates will go up any further. You couldn't rule it out. If they do come down, it'll be at the end of 2024.
Josh Martin, 7 News.
A man with a bag of knives has attacked 5 strangers as they walked around Melbourne. The 31-year-old lunged at his unsuspecting victims at 4 separate locations before he was chased down by transit guards.
An innocent man attacked with no warning. The second victim in a random stabbing rampage. One of the 5 lives threatened across Melbourne in 4 separate attacks, allegedly by one man. Witnesses at first unaware, then shocked, before rushing to help, one even using his shirt to stop the bleeding. The suspect ran from King Street.
On each occasion, the victims were minding their own business. They wouldn't have even known that they were about to be attacked.
Another attack, this time on an English tourist in St Kilda, also caught on camera. Witnesses say the victim tried to defend himself before the accused attacker fled.
We believe at this particular time he's used the public transport service, whether it's trains or trams.
Police are still trying to work out a motive. Detectives quick to say it wasn't terrorism related. The violence unfolded over 3 hours, leaving 5 people in hospital. The suspect was spotted on a train.
OC or capsicum spray was deployed to subdue him. He certainly resisted police at the time of arrest.
I was woken up by a loud screaming noise from a male voice. Someone was screaming, "Stand still, put your hands by your side."
A bag containing multiple weapons was found at the scene. Police say it's possible more than one knife was used in the attacks. That's left residents across the city on edge.
When I arrived this morning to open up, there was all this blood on the pavement. A significant amount of blood.
A 31-year-old Melton man was charged 13 hours after the arrest. He's accused of 15 offences, including causing serious injury in circumstances of gross violence, intentionally causing injury and possessing a controlled weapon. Sarah Jane Bell, 7 News.
Esperance residents are up in arms again over black holes in the town's mobile phone service. They've been complaining about this service for years. Now Telstra has admitted it doesn't have a timeline for fixing it. Jeff Parry has this exclusive report.
Trevor Finesse's issues with Telstra came to a head when his wife Diane was flown to Perth from Esperance by Royal Flying Doctor Service early in December. When she got to Fiona Stanley Hospital, she was told the bed she'd been waiting for had been given to another patient, and she was packed back into the plane and flown to Bunbury, where she spent around 2 weeks. Diane was eventually flown back to Esperance by RFDS jet after the intervention of Liberal leader Libby Mettam.
I think that definitely helped. Libby's office, I think, did a great job in helping things along.
Those 2 weeks sheeted home Trevor's long-held dissatisfaction with Telstra.
I couldn't ring the hospital, they couldn't ring me.
Trevor complained to Telstra, who admitted there had been a fault in one of its towers since June 2020. 3.5 years ago. They told Trevor Telstra is unable to provide an immediate remedy and do not have an estimated restoration date.
And Telstra still keep taking the money every month and don't provide the service.
In 2015, Telstra promised more mobile towers for Esperance under its Black Spot program to plug the gaps in its mobile network. That was the same year 4 people died in an out-of-control bushfire and the coroner called for better mobile communications for the town. It's a town that's had its fair share of shark attacks, boating tragedies and fires. Many in the town don't think Telstra is doing its job.
We're well and truly aware we're completely forgotten.
Jeff Parry, 7 News.
A motorcyclist is recovering in hospital this evening after a 4-vehicle pile-up on a freeway overnight. Just before midnight, 2 Toyota Corollas, a Hyundai Kona and a motorcycle collided on the Graham Farmer Freeway. Paramedics rushed the 45-year-old rider to Royal Perth Hospital in a serious condition. Traffic officers are now investigating the crash and no one has been charged. A 35-year-old man from Bridgetown has been charged with the murder of Raymond Smith, whose body was discovered on the outskirts of Greenbushes this week. Mr Smith was last seen on December 7th, sparking a search for the 68-year-old. Australian aviation authorities are not expected to ground any planes despite their American counterparts forcing flights to halt across the United States. Boeing 737 MAX 9s aren't permitted to fly following yesterday's Alaskan Air incident that saw a plane ripped open over the country's northwest.
From pilots to air traffic control, it was decisive.
Yeah, well, let's go down.
And urgent.
Aircraft, stay again. It's on Alaska. Trouble to declare an emergency. We're descending down to 10,000.
Depressurised is what the cockpit alarms were showing. For passengers, this was their view.
We need to descend down to 10,000. Yes, we need it. We've declared an emergency, and we have 177 passengers on board.
One boy learned the life-saving lesson of seatbelts.
And his shirt was sucked off him and out of the plane, and his mother was holding on to him.
An exit on this plane had been modified as wall panelling.
It's got a window and it is in the emergency exit door. It's deactivated. The problem is with this one, and the reason they're all grounded, is obviously it's not a plug-type door.
In other words, a door larger than the cavity it inhabits, which means it can't fall out.
But the aircraft was a very new aircraft, only produced and entered service a couple of months ago.
A Boeing 737 MAX plummeted in Indonesia in 2018 and Ethiopia in 2019. Between them, 400 dead. The Federal Aviation Administration in the US tonight grounding dozens of 737 MAX 9s across the country.
We could have ended up with something so much more tragic, and we're really fortunate that that did not occur here.
Australian authorities are investigating but have no plans to ground similar aircraft here. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
One young cricket fan has scored himself a piece of Australian sporting history. After his final Test appearance yesterday, David Warner handed over his helmet and his gloves to Brodie Quinn. Now the 12-year-old is hatching a new plan to meet his hero.
From scoring runs in his front yard to running away with a piece of Australian sporting history.
Well, that is one lucky kid. Helmet and gloves.
Brodie Quinn's still coming to terms with his good luck.
I was pretty stoked when I got it. I ran back. It was a good opportunity to get it when he was walking out of his last Test match.
At the SCG for David Warner's last Test, the 12-year-old thought he'd try for the batsman's gloves.
And he saw the boy get at lunch that he thought, I'm going to go back down there and see what I can get.
He made the run to the fence with dozens of others.
Warner, please give me your gloves. And I was like, Warner, here, please.
Returning to his shocked family with not just gloves, but the batsman's helmet.
Very sweaty. It stunk.
The family's walls were already lined with cricketing memorabilia. A Shane Warne piece hangs by Brodie's bed, but Warner's helmet and gloves now take pride of place.
I think it takes the cake, really. I think this is it's the uniqueness of it really. Probably beats anything that we've got. It's really special to have.
Not content on simply owning the gear, young Brodie now wants David Warner to sign it. He'll be back here at the SCG on Friday to watch Warner play in the BBL and is intent on tracking him down.
I want to try and get him to sign it, sign the helmet, sign the gloves, and then get it framed somehow.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
Well, this time 3 years ago, the White House was under siege as Donald Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. Coming up, how the former president is using the riots to fuel his re-election campaign. Plus, sparks fly as a twister barrels through Florida, whipping up mayhem. And brewing up a real estate frenzy, an iconic pub hits the market. That's next.
I've always wanted to do music. My mum used to be an amateur opera singer. Mum will be proud that I'm actually auditioning today. I'm going to play Better Be Home Soon by Crowded House.
Oh, I love it.
Mum and I actually saw Crowded House a few years before she passed. And I guess one day I'll be coming back home to her.
Oh.
That's why I tell you, you better be home soon.
That's probably one of the most heartfelt performances I've seen, because you're singing it to somebody you love, and that's how I felt about my mum.
There are singers, then there are idols.
ready to go next level. Less balancing chakras, more balancing aulers.
So I can reach enlightenment on a financial level?
On a deeply financial level.
At the Nick Scali January sale, everything is 20 to 50% off. The biggest Nick Scali sale of the year. 20 to 50% off everything. On now at Nick Scali.
Hey, Dad. What's the ocean like?
You were made to remember some days forever. We were made to help you find the best way there.
Craft Decor's hot summer sale is on now. There's timber looks, large formats, subways, cement look, marble looks, hybrid flooring and more. Craft Decor, best tiles, best prices. Cannington, Joondalup, Mandurah, Osborne Park and South Fremantle.
In the Swan Valley, our roots run deep. From generations comes unmatched quality, grown with love, picked with heart. Direct from our hands to yours, from our farm to your family, enjoy the taste of the Swan Valley.
Bright Group delivers safer, smarter and more efficient solutions to power mining and resources, delivering world-class training to enhance and grow your technical capability. Unearth your full potential to a successful and safe career. Think Bright.
For billions of years, Mother Nature has been creating natural, rare and precious diamonds. And Solid Gold has been selecting only the very best to be handcrafted into a timeless symbol of your love. Nothing compares with the Solid Gold promise.
With the Isuzu MU-X, you're sorted. Whether you're getting away from everybody or getting away with everybody, live your own way in the 7-seat Isuzu MU-X.
So many hits are exclusive to 7plus. Stream big.
Welcome back. Survival stories are still emerging from the rubble nearly a week after Japan's devastating earthquake. A woman in her 90s has been found alive in a flattened building. She'd been trapped for 5 days. It's believed she was suffering from hypothermia, but still responsive. More than 120 people have been found dead after the powerful quake. A further 200 are missing. Well, 3 years on from the January 6 riots in Washington, and former President Donald Trump has gone from defending the rioters to using them as campaign props. He's now hoping they'll help him return to the White House.
It's the rioters' perspective 3 years on. Trying to breach the door leading into the House chamber.
Go find another door, everybody.
Barricaded inside, members of Congress guarded by armed Capitol Police officers.
You guys are not going to lose a paycheck if we come in the building, man.
The pro-Trump rioters stormed the United States Capitol in the wake of his election defeat. Tonight, it's part of his rallying cry as he campaigns for re-election.
But if you're with us, they put you in jail. Look at what's happened with the J6 hostages. The hostages, that's a horrible thing.
He called the riot peaceful before comparing it to immigrants crossing into the US illegally.
When you talk about insurrection, what they're doing, that's the real deal. That's the real deal, not patriotically and peacefully.
Some so-called leaders still tried to mislead and gaslight by claiming it was a peaceful protest.
USA! USA!
The former president has his own legal challenges tied to that day. He faces a federal indictment for his role in trying to overturn the 2020 results, and the US Supreme Court will decide if he can be banned from state ballots for engaging in insurrection. Despite his mounting legal battles, he remains the Republican frontrunner.
The entire campaign will be subsumed with legal issues, criminal trials, and January 6th.
Chaos follows him.
In just over a week, Republicans in Iowa vote for their presidential nominee. In the United States, Smiley Hogan, 7 News.
5 children are among those dead after a Russian missile strike in eastern Ukraine. Kyiv is accusing Moscow of cynically hitting civilians after the shelling attack on the outskirts of Donetsk. 11 people were killed and more than 10 wounded. Ukraine also claims to have evidence that missiles fired into Kharkiv last week were supplied by North Korea. 14 Fort Lauderdale has felt the full force of a tornado producing a dramatic light show. Sparks were sent flying from power lines, flashing as the twister barreled through the Florida city. So far, no injuries have been reported, and despite the wild scenes, the damage is minor. A suspected armed intruder has been shot dead during a violent home invasion in Melbourne's north. Police believe up to 5 armed men were involved in the targeted attack, with gunfire ringing out across suburban streets early this morning.
A botched home invasion in the middle of a new Donnybrook estate. A nearby security camera capturing the sound of 5 shots in under 4 seconds. One intruder shot dead, another undergoing emergency surgery, and a female resident slashed with a machete.
It's a shocking incident when you look at the fact that the injury sustained by the female was with a machete in her own home. The whole thing is, very concerning.
Police say up to 5 men stormed to the Middlemount Street property armed with a handgun and a large knife. Their targets, a man and a woman inside, but their motive is still unclear.
The male resident appears to have confronted these males. There's been some sort of struggle, and a firearm has been claimed off one of the offenders who's come into the house.
After the deadly confrontation, the 27-year-old woman managed to drive herself 11 kilometres away to Doreen, where police say they found the handgun.
This time we feel too much scared. We're living with our small child.
Today, bullets found in the next street away from the home understood to have fallen out of one of the attacker's pockets in a frantic hurry to escape.
I just moved to this house on Wednesday, so it was a bit scary, but I didn't come out from the house because, I don't know what's going on.
Police want to stress to local families in the area that even though this was a targeted attack, they will be stepping up their patrols as a measure of reassurance.
Obviously, it's quite a shocking incident, but as I say, we do not believe it is related to anything beyond that household.
Cassie Zervos, 7 News.
It's fast becoming the drug of choice for young festival goers. Coming up, the chilling warning from health experts. Why social media is being blamed for making kids think ketamine is safe. And it's that time of year again. The annual lamb ad makes a return. Destruction as far as the eye can see, the heartbreaking clean-up in Queensland. And next stop, Antarctica, the iconic Aussie pub that could be yours. That's still to come.
Looking for a place to impress your date? Or heading out for a quick bite? Feeling adventurous? Explore Perth's hidden gems. Dinner for that special occasion? Or just brunch with friends? Drink and dine with the West Australian. Real foodies, honest reviews.
Don't forget about the stars.
I am happy anywhere I am with you.
The sky. Don't delete my baby. Don't defeat her still.
Hey, Aiden!
Don't defeat my baby. Don't delete her still.
Promise you, we'll find her.
Into the hands of grace. Don't delete my baby. I'll find the feeling.
Home and Away starts tomorrow, 7 o'clock on 7 and 7+.
Hey, sister,
Keep your head held high, just like Mom taught us. Even if we have to part, you and me, us have one heart.
How come you don't have none? All I had was my sister.
Get off my lap!
I know she's somewhere.
It's time for you to see the world.
Someday we're gonna meet again.
The colour purple.
The King Living Summer Sale is on now. Save up to 50% on Australian-designed indoor and outdoor furniture. This summer, come home to King. Sale on now.
UE's 24/7 roadside assist is a must-have with this late-night teenage taxi service I've recently started.
Insurance that's a bit more U-shaped. UE. You insured.
Still more in store.
Get set for summer.
With Australia's #1 rated garden power tool brand.
Like our powerful petrol blowers.
Save $50.
Rate that. Get set for summer. Still only from Stihl dealers.
Do flies, mosquitoes or midges prevent you from enjoying the outdoors? Take control with David Gray's Outdoor Fogger with citronella to kill and repel these pests. Enjoy the open air at your home pest-free with David Gray's Outdoor Fogger. Wanneroo GWM run-out sale is on now. Massive discounts across Haval SUV and Canon Ute range. Save up to $4,000 on selected vehicles, all with 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty.
If my deal doesn't tempt you, nothing will.
Derby Jetty is my peace. It's where I go and get away from everything. When I catch my fish, I literally jump up and down, full on with adrenaline and excitement. Breakfast West's good to keep fish in the ocean, to let them breed for another day for the next generation to come. Are you a part of the cast of thousands?
Welcome back. There are fresh warnings for young people tonight after a spike in ketamine use at festivals. Health experts are concerned partygoers think it's a safer option to other drugs without knowing the full effects.
Triple K, Special K, Kim Kardashian, Kettenheimer and Ketamine Street. These signs were brought along to last week's Lost Paradise Festival and very openly celebrate the popular drug.
Dance Wise has seen an increase in ketamine presentations, a very large amount of fake ketamine going around.
It contributed to the death of Friends star Matthew Perry, but what is ketamine? It's a dissociative drug that targets the brain, creating a sense of detachment from reality. Similar to psychedelics, it can cause hallucinations and disorientation. It's typically used by doctors and veterinarians as an anaesthetic. But when bought on the street, there are risks.
They have a bit of a euphoria, a bit of a high, and then they act like dum-dums. They fall into a pool and drown. They walk in front of a car.
And personal and party use has been on the rise, with people in their 20s the most common users.
Whilst we're thinking now about what happens today, people can have longer-term issues.
Ketamine might be cheaper than some other drugs, and it's being studied for its effectiveness in treating depression. But that doesn't necessarily make it safer.
Kind of got this street cred that it might be a little bit better for you than something like cocaine or heroin. But in fact, the kind of ketamine that you're going to be getting on the street, I've got no idea what's in it.
Amy Clements, 7 News.
Well, the electricity has almost fully returned and the clean-up is powering ahead. But now storm-ravaged residents on the Gold Coast are facing a long haul. Some whose homes are badly damaged and in need of repair could be facing a year-long wait.
An aerial view of incredible damage. Destruction as vast as it is heartbreaking for homeowners in the storm-ravaged southeast, and there's no quick fix in sight.
It will take years to get everybody's homes repaired.
More than 550 homes across the Gold Coast, Scenic Rim and Logan sustained at least moderate damage during the region's dual weather disasters. The rebuild now hamstrung by the state's construction industry, which is already stretched thin.
The industry generally is very busy. You throw in the impact of the storms, the flooding, and it will create real problems.
Progress, though, for properties which are still standing. Power has been restored to almost all Energex customers who've been in the dark over the past 2 weeks.
Leaving really only those who need their houses to be certified, waiting for that certification before they can get their power back on.
A major step forward on a long road to recovery. On the Gold Coast, Liam Bland, 7 News.
There's been an emotional tribute for champion cyclist Melissa Hoskins at the Road Cycling Nationals being held in Victoria.
Mel Hoskins, she was a world champion, a dual Olympian, but she was so much more than that. She was a mother of 2, she was a friend to many. Unfortunately, Mel is no longer with us, so the entire peloton, the town of Buninyong, paid tribute to her with a minute's silence before the race got started.
The 32-year-old Olympian died after she was struck in Adelaide last weekend by a car allegedly driven by her husband, Rowan Dennis. The Tour Down Under champion has been charged over the incident and is due to face court in March. Well, the latest annual lamb campaign has been launched off the back of a record summer of red meat sales. But some farmers are claiming consumers are being ripped off and are now waging war with the supermarkets.
Good morning, Boomertown.
A fictional tale of a very real struggle.
Watch out for the generation gap.
Classic boomers, making the gap bigger.
The recurring red meat gag.
Is that lamb?
Bringing everyone together.
An iconic Australian unifying catalyst. It's a great Australian barbecue full of succulent Australian lamb.
Lamb hasn't been more affordable than it is right now in the last 4 to 5 years.
This graph shows retail prices of beef and lamb almost tripling since the year 2000, with a slight drop last year.
We saw a 60% reduction in beef and sheep prices in June, and now we're seeing fruit prices and veggie prices falling through the floor, but the prices at the checkout still haven't.
Farmers tell us shoppers are getting ripped off.
The consumer should be getting my zucchinis at a better price.
It costs Ross Marcelino $2 to produce a kilo of zucchinis. Supermarkets buy them for $2.20. Shoppers pay almost $7.
And there's no profit. Probably looking at pulling the pin this year and not growing next year.
The number of growers either going broke or committing suicide in this country is unprecedented.
The Nationals are tonight renewing calls for an ACCC supermarket inquiry in place of the Senate inquiry already underway.
That's all about lifting the level of transparency from supermarkets about the prices they're paying farmers, their other suppliers.
Tom Hartley, 7 News.
This is 7 News. Next up, urgent calls to improve rail crossings. The horror train crash that claimed 2 lives sparks calls for change. Deep trouble, a man's bizarre act at a shopping centre aquarium. Plus, still to come, Australia's most southern pub hits the market. Just how much it will cost.
And coming up in Sunday Sport, Cameron Bancroft states his case to replace David Warner. Plus, Rory Lobb reveals what's motivating him at the Bulldogs this year.
There's one thing tougher than taking on a chaser. It's taking on 2. Monday, Jan 29. It'll be double the chasers and double the trouble.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
The Chase, Double Trouble. Monday, Jan 29 on 7 and 7+.
Okay, new year, new you, new plan. You order Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Pro, the dietitian design program to kickstart your weight loss journey. You get a convenient, on-the-go, high-protein breakfast shake. You get your choice of chef-designed lunches and dinners. You get a free app. And you get 38 years of experience. Doesn't matter if it's your first time or your 15th. It's time for a healthier way to lose weight. It's time for a fresh start with Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Pro.
Not feeling confident about your next dental checkup? Maybe it's your brush. Regular brushes can leave more plaque behind. Switch to the Oral-B Pro 100 electric toothbrush. The round head cups each tooth to reach deep between teeth, removing up to 100% more plaque for 100% cleaner teeth. For healthy teeth and gums, find the Oral-B Pro 100 electric toothbrush for a great price every day at Chemist Warehouse.
Still more in store.
Get set for summer
with Australia's #1 rated garden power tool brand.
Like high-performance battery power.
From only $1.99.
Rate that. Get set for summer. Still only from Still Dealers.
Need a reliable new forklift at a low price? Call in and see the new range of Heli forklifts today at Allied. We have over 300 new and used forklifts on sale now. Heli and Allied Forklifts, the formidable team.
At John Hughes, you can buy a new Hyundai, Ford, Volkswagen, Kia, Mitsubishi, Jeep, LDV, MG, and now Chery. That's why more people choose John Hughes. johnhughes.com.au, your car buying destination.
Jim Kidd Sports, proudly WA owned and operated. Grab 40% off ASIC's trail runners, men's and women's. There's 10,000 pairs on sale now with our warehouse overflowing with stock. Shop in store, online or click and collect at Jim Kidd Sports.
New Style's massive summer sale is now on.
Beat the heat and secure your home by installing new style roller shutters. Enjoy your alfresco this summer by installing premium quality outdoor blinds. Call New Style Shutters today and save.
A lot's changed in WA, but at RAC, one thing hasn't: our commitment to members. We've been awarded CanStar's most satisfied home and car insurance customers for 4 years running. RAC, for the better. RAC, for insurance that's as local as a morning surf at Trig and 7 News Perth.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Rail bosses are leading urgent calls for better safety standards at level crossings. There's a push for the federal and state governments to join operators in a national forum. 2 rail workers were killed last week after a freight train and truck collided near the South Australian border.
We owe it to those families, the families of Mick and Kevin, to learn as much as we can from this event to make sure that we do what we can to prevent it from ever happening again.
28 people are killed at level crossings on average every year. Shoppers were left stunned after a man's daring plunge into an Alabama aquarium. Completely naked, he performed a cannonball leap into the water inside a sporting and fishing shop. He stripped down after first crashing his car outside the store. The 42-year-old climbed out after a brief standoff but fell to the floor below and was knocked out. Among his charges is public lewdness. Well, an 8-year-old boy has become Australia's newest and youngest sailing champion. His achievement even attracting attention from our greatest ever yachtsman.
This 8-year-old has just upstaged the old salts of sailing. Will Rose steering his yacht to victory in the national titles. 9 races across 5 days, the youngest to ever win. For other kids his age, it's unfathomable.
They don't really believe me that I'm a state champion and now an Australian champion.
Unbelievable for sailing royalty John Bertrand too, the first and only Australian skipper to win the America's Cup, even calling to personally congratulate Will.
Hi.
Will, yes, my name is John Bertrand.
Well, I thought it takes decades, but this kid's doing fine. He's 8 years old, for goodness sake. He can hardly spell his name, and he's just won the national championships, 125 class.
Will's parents have taught him everything he knows on the water. His dad, Stuart, by his side for the victory.
It felt fantastic to sail with my son and to see him grow in confidence and improve his skills. It's great.
It's kind of confusing, but whenever I push it away, it goes the opposite way. Whenever I push it towards me, it goes that way.
This is just the beginning for Will. He's hoping to have another big year with plenty of solo races planned, even wanting to defend his national title in Brisbane. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
If he gets a love of the sport, which clearly he does now, then he can go a long way in the sport if that's what he wants to do.
Kate Massey, 7 News.
A bidding war is brewing for an iconic pub that's up for sale. How much it will cost you to become the owner of Australia's southernmost pub. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But first, Adrian Barrage is back with more sport, and there is some big news, breaking news in sport, Barra.
There is, Teen. Yes, Rafael Nadal is out of the Australian Open. Details coming up. Plus, Cam Bancroft pleads for another chance 6 years after Sandpaper Gate. I owe the country, says Bancroft. Coming up, we look at all the contenders for David Warner's old job. And the Demon joins an exclusive club on the eve of the Australian Open.
What if you could hear a woman's every thought? Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt in the romantic comedy What Women Want. Tonight, 8:30.
Have a house.
Lovely.
Your phone torch is on.
Oh, careful, Seymour.
Watch out for the generation gap.
Ah, bloody Gen Zs.
We're the ones that invented your precious World Wide Web.
Oh, Seymour! Oh, classic boomers, making the gap bigger.
They'd understand if they just listened to us.
Yeah, season 1 was better.
Hey, do you think all this screen time is adversely affecting our social skills?
Well, it could be worse. We could be in our early 30s.
Hey, millennials are still cool, right?
Morning! So not slay.
Are we saying slay now? Slay.
I just feel like no one pays attention to Gen X. We've got so much to...
I don't care what they do, just not in my backyard. Hey, in my backyard! This is their fault!
Don't look at us. We're literally perfect.
Typical young people. Everyone gets a trophy.
You bought us the trophies!
Cancelled. Cancelled.
Is that lamb?
Lamb.
At least we can agree on something. The generation gap, it's closing.
The lamb's getting closer.
I'm addicted to my phone as well. Takeaway coffees could be hotter.
It's okay you spent $368 billion on submarines.
Well, it's a barbecue for the ages.
Who's that?
Oh, it's John Howard.
Oh, who's that?
Good to have the country back together.
We weren't ever that far apart, sweetheart.
Find a trusted tradie at Richtech. Plumbing and gas, electrical faults, shower regrouting and roof repairs, all to the highest standard. That's my guarantee. I'm Phil Richardson, owner of Richtech, and you know who to get.
Let's get Richtech.
At the Nick Scali January sale, save 50% off the peony leather sofa. Now $16.95. That's half price, $16.95. Only at Nick Scali.
Beekeepers is a special program outside the chain of command.
I protect the hive. When the system is out of balance, I correct it.
We have laws for these things.
Until they fail, then you have me.
At Woolworths, we want you to spend less today. When you do your Woolies shop online or the app, use the best unit price tool to sort by lowest unit price and find better value. That's today's fresh food people.
Julio bought cheap car insurance with cheap accident repair. Don't risk bargain regret. Next time join the A-Team, hey Julio.
Lucky you're with Amy.
Welcome back. Tarnished by the sandpaper scandal, WA's Cameron Bancroft wants to make it up to Australia by becoming David Warner's Test replacement. Bancroft almost scored 1,000 runs last Sheffield Shield season and he's averaging 56 this season, but it might not be enough. Here's Anna Hay.
With families in tow, the Test team disbanding, heading home with 10 days until the West Indies series begins.
Thanks, Rose.
Just hours after hitting up Sydney's nightlife to farewell one of Australia's greats, the attention now turns to who will replace David Warner.
I want that opportunity very bad. Exclamation mark.
6 years after playing his part in the sandpaper scandal, 5 years since his last test, says he's a changed and better man.
I feel like I definitely, owe it to my country to, put those lessons, into play. One of the lessons I've probably learnt over the time is to be able to, take control of, your own actions and responsibilities.
Bancroft is the leading Shield run scorer for the past 2 seasons as an opener, averaging over 48. He scored an incredible 945 runs last season, 289 more than any other player.
I put my heart and soul into developing, my game as an opening batter. The selectors have always been really clear with Shield cricket being the ground that they want guys to go back and perform in.
But it might not be enough.
We'll consider all options.
Steve Smith is dead serious about moving up to opener. Smith has come to the crease 47 times inside the first 10 overs of a Test innings. He averages over 61, with 9 of his 32 Test hundreds starting against the new ball.
He's mentioned it throughout the last couple of weeks, so it's nice to have him putting his hand up. I think there's a few others that weren't putting their hand up.
Smith has personal interest in WA's Cameron Green filling his role at number 4.
Arguably in our best lineup, depending on which way we go.
Marcus Harris is another option, averaging 25 in 14 tests. The dust barely settled on Warner's goodbye, but his replacement will be named on Tuesday. Anna Hay, 7 News.
And the Perth Scorchers are looking to bounce back from their shock 9-wicket loss to the Strikers when they take on Cam Bancroft's Sydney Thunder tomorrow. It'll be the first time Bancroft will be facing up against his former team.
There'll be a bit of tongue-in-cheek, no doubt. It'd be exciting. I know when I played the Scorchers last year, there was always there's probably a bit more nerves than normal, playing against all your mates. So I know that he'll experience that tomorrow night, but it should be good fun.
And you can catch the game live on 7 Mate from 4 p.m. And Rafael Nadal has withdrawn from the Australian Open after suffering an injury in his loss to Jordan Thompson at the Brisbane International. Nadal will now fly home to Spain after picking up a micro tear on a muscle. Meanwhile, Alex de Minaur will arrive at the Australian Open in a rare club.
Into the world top 10 with a bullet.
And there it is. De Minaur does it for Australia.
And a rebel yell.
It feels special. This is my favourite court in the whole world.
Alex de Minaur, Australia's first top 10 male since Leighton Hewitt nearly 18 years ago. Others before then, Philip Poussis, Rafter, Cash, back to the original 3, Laver, Rosewell, Newcombe.
To be able to do it in Sydney on Ken Rosewell Arena, in front of friends, family, it's a memory that I'll cherish forever.
The variety that Alex has been playing with has been fantastic, and that's another tool that he's added to his game.
To join the top 10s, you have to beat them. Fritz, Djokovic, now a fight back over Zverev, all in 1 week. A 24-year-old who's always heard the knocks, he doesn't have the weapons to take down the big boys.
I saw it in the back of my head and I used it as motivation.
Against me, from what I can judge, it was the best match that he's played. So he's in unbelievable form.
The United Cup run ends there. After a mixed doubles marathon, Jordan Thompson couldn't back up his win over Rafa in the Brisbane semis against Dimitrov. Now, out of the Kyrgios vacuum, the Aussie men want their time in the bright lights of their home slam.
I'm stoked. I can't wait to start.
Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
WA's Rory Lobb has hinted at a shift into the ruck as the Bulldogs look to shake off a disappointing 2023. The former Docker also revealing how his mid-season axing fuelled a late-season comeback.
A year spent navigating out of the rough, the Bulldogs know 2024 has to be different.
We don't want to be relying on other people and results, so we want to put ourselves in a better position, hopefully get a good start this season.
A guest at this week's Portsea Pro-Am, Lobb's debut season at the Kennel, much like his team's. Flashes of brilliance and a costly mid-season lean patch that saw the former Docker dumped to the VFL.
Yeah, I was actually saying to the boys, it was the first twos game that I've played in about 8 years. Through the middle part of the year, I wasn't playing, up to my standards, but I obviously finished off the year pretty well. So it was sort of a good move in the end for me to go down and get a little bit more confidence.
Recruited to provide firepower in attack, Lobb bounced back to boot 12 goals in the final month. But it was a 10-minute burst from the centre square in the final game that could spark a tandem with All-Australian Tim English this year.
Yeah, probably a little bit more in the ruck with that Cats game. It sort of worked pretty well where I jumped in there for a little bit longer. It's just trying to find the right balance between me playing forward and Tim playing forward, and just trying to give him different looks in the middle.
Extra flexibility for a coach known for switching his magnets, even if it means the experiment of 4 tall forwards is over for now.
We're all fighting for spots at the moment, which is a good place to be.
Mitch Cleary, 7 News.
The Perth Wildcats made a huge statement on the road today, defeating New Zealand in Auckland 108-102. On the longest road trip in the NBL, the Cats were super impressive. Bryce Cotton with a massive 31 points.
With a little shimmy with the shoulders, it's Harris who can put it up and in. Wildcats basketball.
The win was even more impressive with future NBA draftee Alex Sarr sidelined by injury. And after duelling with the likes of Messi's Argentina, the Socceroos are back to dealing with the defensive, frustrating tactics that have tested them over the years at the Asian Cup. This morning's 2-0 warm-up win over Bahrain, with Mitch Duke's goal the highlight, a useful reminder to the team.
It's always great to play against opposition that play that way, so it was a perfect game that we could have had leading into the Asian Cup.
They start against India on Saturday, and there was more heartbreak for the Glory after a dramatic goal by substitute Ben Folami in the 96th minute clinched a 3-2 win for Melbourne victory.
That might just do it. Ben Folami, smart celebrations for the victory.
Earlier, Glory were reduced to 10 men when Bruce Kamal was sent off just after half-time. You just can't get it done, the Glory. That Bryce Cotton team, he's got to be a near certainty to claim his 4th MVP crown.
Incredible.
He's having a great season.
Fantastic, sure is. Thanks so
Back to
much,
you.
Farah. Well, a bidding war is brewing for an iconic pub that carries a unique claim to fame. Tasmania's Southern Port Hotel has a name befitting its status as Australia's southernmost pub.
Australia's southernmost pub is on more than a few bucket lists.
A lot of people come down, buy the stubby holders, take a photo of the sign out the front there.
Owner and chef Michael Leder has been at the helm since 2009. He's now putting the Southport Hotel, 100 kilometres from Hobart, on the market.
I've been doing it for a long time, and it's just I've got other things I'd like to do, and yeah, we're going to move on to new adventures.
There's a bottle shop, fuel station and caravan park, with expressions of interest starting at around $2 million. It serves a set of 150 locals, loyal campers who return every summer and those exploring Tassie's furthest reaches.
Summertime's really, really busy. Wintertime's it's better than what it used to be. Yeah, a lot of tourists travelling around now.
Michael's found the Southport pub is the perfect opportunity for a career switch. He was a truck driver before taking over. He's just got one demand for any potential owners.
It'd just be nice to see someone sort of come in with a nice, fresh approach and eager to do the right thing and look after all the local people.
In other words, keep serving up beers as far south as you can get them. Josh Duggan, 7 News.
Stay with us. A few very hot days ahead. I'll have all your weather details up next.
Agent Argyle.
Argyle.
Argyle. Argyle. Argyle. God, I hate that cat. Argyle.
Creepy at all, eh?
Oh, that sucks.
It's a good thing you're with Budget Direct, Australia's most award-winning insurer. He does love his trophies.
Congratulations.
Insurance solved with Budget Direct.
Save now at our New Year New Look sale at the Blinds Gallery. Transform your home for less with up to 50% off indoor and outdoor blinds, curtains, awnings, plus huge savings on shutters.
Call 137 127 The Blinds Gallery.
Wanneroo GWM run-out sale is on now. Massive discounts across Haval SUV and Canon Ute range. Save up to $4,000 on selected vehicles, all with 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty.
If my deal doesn't tempt you, nothing will.
Here you go, beautiful. Excuse me.
Get another look with your New Year benefits. Get 2 designer pairs, no gap, with selected health funds. Should have gone to Specsavers.
Want silky smooth skin after every shave? Switch to Venus Comfort Glide White Tea Razor from Chemist Warehouse. This razor has flexible gel bars and 3 blades for fewer nicks and cuts than some disposable razors. For up to 30 days of smooth skin, try Venus Comfort Glide White Tea Razor, now $8.75 at Chemist Warehouse. And replace any Venus razor heads with any Venus blades. Live, look, feel fabulous at Chemist Warehouse.
An Antarctic adventure.
An opportunity to push the boundaries of what humans are capable of.
Up against the elements, the doctors collecting critical data.
Today's been really tough.
Can they make the last flight out?
We could put ourselves in a very dangerous position that we wouldn't be able to come back from.
On Spotlight, next up on 7 and 7+. Perth's official clinic-by-clinic bulk billing examination. The new changes. Will it be cheaper for you in 2024? On 7 News, Monday.
Well, a scorcher today here in Perth, just before many people head back to work tomorrow for the new year. We exceeded our expected maximum, hitting our top temperature of 36 degrees, a touch past 1 p.m. after a low of 18.1. Around the country, Canberra is expecting storms and heavy falls tomorrow. Rain in Melbourne with 22 degrees and wet in Sydney too. Closer to home, and the heatwave conditions persist in Kununurra, 37 degrees, 41 in Tom Price tomorrow. Windy in Geraldton with a top of 34, cloudy and 29 degrees in Margaret River. Well, if you're headed out onto the water tomorrow, south-southeasterly winds tending east-southeasterly and then south-southwesterly to 30 knots. Seas to 2.5 metres on a 2-metre swell. So this is how the week looks. A hot top of 35 degrees tomorrow, an overnight low of 22, windy on Tuesday, 31 degrees, sunny and 32 for Wednesday, then cloudy conditions are settling in for the rest of the week. The mercury climbing to 37 on Friday. Saturday, we're headed for 38 degrees, then back down to 33 for Sunday. And that's 7's news for now. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back with evening updates, and for the very latest stories, head to our website 7news.com.au. From us, good night.